Welcome to this week's episode of the Edges and Sledges cricket podcast brought to you by Seat Tires. I'm excited to speak to my co-hosts Ashwin and DJ today. And it is June and July. It's the summer of sports. There's Euro going on, Wimbledon, NBA, some cricket. The Olympics are coming up. DJ, I have to ask you first. Tell us, is it coming home or is it going to Rome?
And that's a pretty controversial question, I have to say. Sitting here in England, the feeling outside seems to be it's coming home. All the cheers I can hear whenever England score. There was talk about a bank holiday on Monday if England win. It's pretty interesting scene. Also, the neutrals and the people outside England and their reaction to the England team is pretty interesting. I feel that's sort of how the rest of the world views the Indian cricket team and fans. I don't know. I'm getting the feeling that they are not really well liked outside of England for whatever reason, because they seem to be quite a nice bunch of guys. Gareth Southgate seems pretty popular. Raheem Sterling's done well. Harry Kane is friends with Virat Kohli. Hopefully, for England fans, he doesn't have the same luck as captain Virat Kohli in World Finals. But we will see on Sunday, and by the time this release, we'll know the answer, right? Rome or home?
Absolutely. And Ashwin, let me come to you. Are you watching a lot of sports as well?
Yeah. First off to DJ, I think it's more the fans that are disliked for England than the players themselves, which could have some strange parallels to Team India as well. But that's probably a whole different discussion we can get into. But unbelievable summer of sport, right? Like for those of our listeners who know, I've lived in Canada for many years. A great run by a couple of Canadian men's players in Wimbledon. By the time you are listening to this, you will know if one of them went on to make the final or not. I don't, so I still have some optimism and excitement. But it's just been great. Great tennis going on. There was only 2 weeks between the French Open and Wimbledon. And so, yeah, while there's been a ton going on, the Stanley Cup finals, the NBA finals, all seem to happen at once. I'm pretty excited for Indian men's cricket to come back on. So let's hope the Indian men don't disappoint.
Yeah, and this is a cricket podcast, so let's get talking a little bit about cricket. There's so much going on. There's a Zimbabwe-Bangladesh series, England-Pakistan, West Indies-Australia, South Africa-Ireland, and of course, Sri Lanka versus India. DJ, I'm going to come to you. Two very interesting pieces of news, actually, regarding COVID and quarantine. One is the Sri Lankan team. 3 players were caught out and about. I think it was in Durham, and just kind of, I don't know what they were doing. I'll come to your views on their on what that video was.
Kushal Mendes was smoking.
And I don't know what the third guy was doing. Was he just watching?
The third guy wasn't on the original video, but I don't know. That guy got caught, but they got banned for a year, man, which is pretty insane for breaching a bubble, and they got fined.
Seriously?
By the police and all. Yeah,
I didn't know it was a year.
Yeah, I mean, like already Sri Lanka is pretty much a third string team, so losing some more players is obviously great for them, right?
And Ashwin, let me ask you quickly, the Pakistan versus England series. So I think total of 7 people in the England squad, including some support staff, were tested positive with COVID. And Ben Stokes came out at the toss, captaining a new team, and actually said, from our last ODI, we have 11 changes, which was pretty funny.
Yeah, it's a pretty funny line, and to be totally honest, it was a pretty funny result too, right? You go into this side against 11 players who weren't in the ODI setup before, a completely new side, and then you lose by 9 wickets. I mean, Pakistan were clearly the favorites going into this, and they've got 141 all out, lost by 9 wickets with 30 overs to spare. I mean, it was one of the most one-sided ODIs I've seen in quite a long time, and it was against 11 new guys. So I guess credit to England for their depth, and I could say some more analytically sound comments, but I just thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah, it was. I didn't expect England to win so convincingly, but yeah, like you said, good on them. And then there were 2 very important birthdays as well, right? In the last 2 days, I would say arguably the 2 best captains for India. And one is MS Dhoni and the second is Sourav Ganguly. So 7 July and 8 July, right after. DJ, any thoughts?
Man, I don't think arguably. Well, I guess Rahul Dravid probably comes in there. Ajit Wadekar is probably in there as well as a great captain. Virat Kohli is the most successful captain. So I suppose the arguably is fine. But I mean, what fine cricket captains they both were. I mean, Dada was the guy that we grew up watching. Didn't really have much success on the world stage, but then it led into the MS Dhoni era, which I think a lot of cricket fans are still recovering from. And as I said, recently we've been spoiled by the MS Dhoni era, winning 3 world trophies in 6 years, right? And now every time we lose, we're like, oh, our trophy cabinet is bare. Varun, the first time we ever won a trophy in our lifetime was 2007, right? So,
Yeah,
I mean, people just need to get used to the fact that there are other teams playing the game as well, which we'd forgotten for a little while, to be fair. 6 years, 3 trophies, life seemed easy.
absolutely. And DJ, do you have I know you wanted to take a jab at Ashwin for something around MS Dhoni and his birthday. Do you have anything
just to be clear, I don't know what the jab is, but we have to measure. I think somebody on Twitter will probably measure how many seconds since the start of the episode till Dhoni came up again. So, in fairness, I guess Varun brought it up this time, but DJ didn't hesitate to remind us of all his accomplishments.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think there's a jab. I know Ashwin appreciates MS Dhoni. I think, like all great players, he was probably playing past his prime, right? Like you saw Federer lose 6-love in the last set at Wimbledon that we just saw. You've seen Bradman get out for a duck in his last innings. And MS Dhoni couldn't quite make it past the crease in that New Zealand semi-final. So all great players love the game, genius. I mean, you always expect one more miracle from them. And when it doesn't come, it hurts. So like Federer, like Bradman, like Dhoni, I like the way I've clubbed them all together there. So
Solid.
Okay, awesome. Then let's move on, guys, to the India versus Sri Lanka series. So, like we do at the start of any series, we're going to run through the squad. We're going to all try to pick up an 11 that all of us think is worthy of starting this ODI series with Sri Lanka. Remember, there's an ODI and a T20 series. In this episode, we're going to talk through only ODI. The squad is the same, but essentially, I think the players might be a little bit different. So, this episode, again, we'll do it. We'll talk specifically about ODIs. DJ, I want to ask you first. Tell us what's been happening with this drama surrounding Shubman Gill, Prithvi Shaw, and Devdutt Padikkal. What's happening? Tell our listeners what has been happening there.
So chronologically, it seems that Shubman Gill got injured. I think it's shin splints, which puts him out of the Test series as well as the rest of the IPL, which is really unfortunate, I think, for a young player like him who was
Is it IPL as well?
Yeah, that's what I heard and read on Twitter.
Wow.
Maybe it's not fully confirmed. But then there was this weird thing that the Indian team had apparently requested Prithvi Shaw and Devdutt Padikkal to be flown into England. But the BCCI hadn't got the email, which was like, you're just like, okay, what's happening? And then
maybe Shastri's emails just go into junk straight away, right? I don't know who said that.
Did Shastri send a drunk email?
Yeah, you never know. It went straight to spam or junk, and nobody ever saw it after that.
Or maybe it goes to the party folder. And who's the chairman of Selector? Chetan Sharma. Apparently, he didn't get the email, which is just frankly amazing because there was no bounce back or anything. Then apparently the request was received, then it was rejected. And you just like, on the basis and the logic being that Abhimanyu Ishwaran is in the squad with the team. So why aren't you using a person who's already there to as a backup opener? So India, remember, have done this previously. Karun Nair was here on the last tour, and then Hanuma Vihari was flown in and played ahead of him in the Oval Test match. So they have a weird kind of record of doing stuff like this. So sometimes it doesn't all make sense. But not great for your confidence if you're Ishwaran, right? You're there as a backup reserve opener and you get told, okay, we're going to fly Prithvi in. And then Wasim Jaffer put up a great meme, which we'll put a link to in the show notes, which was basically Ajay Devgan's entry shot into Bollywood from, I think, Phool or Kaante, right? In 91 or 92, where he's split over 2 motorbikes, and Jaffer has put Sri Lanka versus India on one side and England series on the other side. And then there was a whole spate of memes that came out of that, where Prithvi Shaw is sitting there going, would I rather play a Sri Lankan bowling attack of Broad, Anderson, Woke, Stokes, etc. I mean, that's a whole different discussion altogether, right?
And I'm going to come to Ashwin there. So tell us your thoughts on somebody like Shaw and Padikkal going there, sitting out. In all likelihood, they're going to miss the first test by the time quarantine's finished. They're going to be there because Kohli wants more number of people there. In case of injuries, they might play. But, I mean, from the last time you assessed Shaw in Australia with all his gap between batting pad and technique, and you dropped him immediately after one test. Now, 6 months later, you haven't played him in India. You want him back. I'm not in favor of this at all. So one, talk us through, do you agree that Shaw and Padikkal should stay? And the second is, they've started mentioning KL Rahul is now a middle order backup. I mean, where did that come from?
Yeah, I was going to say, you mentioned Rahul, right? So for me, actually, before we go to an Abhimanyu Ishwaran, etc., you have KL Rahul and you have Mayank Agarwal, both in your squad, right? So so I guess the caveat is it's a 5-test series. You want to be ready for injuries, etc., but you can fly people in later, right? There's going to be quarantine stuff and bio bubble rules and stuff, but you will be able to add people later for injuries. So for me, before you even get to the blow to confidence of Ishwar and etc., you start with Mayank and Rahul, right? The logical thing is, hey, Mayank, we talked about him a lot before the World Test Championship final too. He would be the logical person to slot in that opening spot with Rohit. As much as we feel for Gill, Varun, I'm 100% with you. Shaw was not the right replacement to fly in. He had a great IPL after a very lackluster prior 6 months, if you will. And so playing against Sri Lanka in more familiar conditions, etc., I think that's the right. Excuse me. I think that's the right move. And as for Padikkal, I think same thing, right? You want to be excited for a young kid, but he would, exactly as you said, he would have flown into the side, got a little bit of net practice in England, most likely not played at all. And I would rather him get an ODI cap against Sri Lanka, play the ODI, maybe T20s, and work his way up to Test cricket. Sometimes we have a tendency to bring kids into Test cricket a little too fast, and so I'm a fan of this approach. We could be sitting here in 3 tests saying, well, Rohit and Mayank both got beamers and got injured, and suddenly we are flying them in. But until then, if we have 4 openers in the squad, that's good for me.
Yeah, and not to forget that Vihari is there as well. Now, I'm not saying he needs to open the batting, but he is there. If he's not playing in the playing 11, he could also be a reserve opener. So it'll be interesting. I think you're right, Ashwin. Over a 5-match series, they will want to figure out how to get a couple of people there. But yeah, we'll have to see how it goes.
Here's the thing, guys, I'm most excited for Mayank. Sorry. Like, if he gets an opportunity, does well in 1 or 2 matches and can go a long series, that's going to cause some serious competition between Rohit, Mayank, and Gill for those 2 slots. And that's going to be great for Test cricket.
Absolutely. I think that's very well said. So, guys, let's move on to the ODI squad for the Sri Lanka series. This is, I think, our favorite pastime, which is picking the 11. I'm thinking let's look at the batsmen and wicket keepers together. So we can talk about them together and probably go down to our top 6, I would say. Yeah, let's try to get our top 6 in order from the squad, and then after that we look at all-rounders and bowlers. So we'll take a break in the middle. So I'm going to read out the batsmen first, right? And I'll come to both of you individually and I'll give my thoughts as well. So the squad for batsmen are Shikhar Dhawan, Prithvi Shaw, Padikkal, Ruturaj Gaikwad, Surya Kumar Yadav, Manish Pandey, and Nitish Rana. Okay. DJ, let me come to you first. Let's go step by step. Let me also throw the 2 wicket keepers' names into this, because in the IPL, all these guys play at different positions. So we're not 100% sure who's going to open, who's going to bat at number 5. The 2 wicket keepers in the squad are Ishan Kishan and Sanju Samson.
Are who? Who's what Kishan?
Ishan. We'll just say Kishan.
You can't help
I just can't help it.
And so we wait for it every episode.
Ishan Kishan. I don't know why I keep saying that. DJ, let's go for it. Tell us your top 2 first. And then we'll keep building along.
Has to be Shekhar, right?
Yeah, I mean, that was going to be one question I was going to ask you guys, that, yeah, he's the captain, so he has to be there.
Yeah, I mean,
so he's also twice the average age of the rest of the squad, I guess.
So, Shekhar up on top. And I mean, clearly the team management rate Shaw enough. Remember, Rahul Dravid is their coach, and Shaw was the captain when they won the Under-19 World Cup. So I see Prithvi Shaw starting the ODI series along with Shekhar on top. Ruturaj being the potential dark horse, but I don't see him starting the series.
Okay, Ashwin, do you agree? Remember, we're talking ODI, but I think my personal view is I tend to agree with DJ.
Yeah, I do. I don't think. Sorry, I wish they played somebody else. I wish they gave somebody like a Samson or a Kishan a chance up at the top of their order, but I do not see them going a different way. So if the question was prediction, I think Shikhar and Shaw will open.
Okay, guys. So I think we've got consensus there. The top 2 are set. Let's move to number 3. DJ, this is not going to be easy. Who would you pick at number 3 for India?
So this is tough. I think you've got Sanju Samson as a contender for sure. Surya Kumar Yadav is the other one. Although we have only seen him in T20 cricket in India colours so far, but I suspect to my mind, he's the front runner for that slot, only because Samson, I think, takes the keeping gloves off Kishan. Samson has played for India before. He's got more experience. He's a captain of a IPL franchise. And we have to also keep the context in mind for this series. I mean, it's not the biggest series, but it's almost a little bit of an audition for the World T20 that's coming up at the end of the year. So, although it's ODI, I think they're auditioning for the T20 World Cup, funnily enough. So I see Yadav and Samson at 3 and 4 personally, but I could be wrong. Maybe they'll try somebody else.
No, I think that's fair. Ashwin, your thoughts?
I think Yadav at 3. So there's no, I think they want to play him at 3. I would imagine they float Samson a little bit more. It's tough. I'm assuming they're going to play around with the order, but I would say Surya Kumar Yadav at 3. I would want to give Ishan Kishan a look in at 4, to be honest. So just, lefty-righty balance, a little more of a big hitter, a little more of a maverick. And also, you have to factor in Sky and Kishan have batted together a lot and played well together. So for me, it's, Sky 3, Kishan 4.
Interesting. Okay. I was trying to think of it as well. I don't know, man, I'd love to play Padikkal at 3. I really want this guy to spend as much time as he can out there in the middle, but that's like a left field pick. I'm going to go with Yadav and Kishan actually, because I believe those will be the number 3 and 4. And so essentially you've got Delhi openers, you've got Mumbai Indians 3 and 4. And then I would pick a Samson at 5 because of his kind of hard-hitting ability. I see Ashwin shaking his head vehemently.
I was just hoping you'd come to me for 5 because I think DJ knows I would have picked Manish Pandey at 5.
Oh God!
And in an ODI,
I actually like that. I'm on board with that because I think Pandey is an ODI player, not a T20 player, which is what we've been shouting about for years. Right?
DJ, when's the last time DJ and I agreed on something? No, wait, Varun, let me ask you a question.
We agree on Pandey being a second string ODI player for sure. No doubt.
Varun, I have a very specific question for you. Who do you want to walk in at 15 for 3? Sanju Samson or Manish Pandey?
Rahul Dravid, please.
Yeah, I think Rahul Dravid
actually should just put on the
back out of retirement.
But I mean, we use that as a benchmark, right? For your number 5.
If we're playing against this Sri Lanka team and we're 15 for 3, just end the match and go home.
It's possible.
Fly back to India.
You got Shaw, Sky, and Kishan. They could all get.
I think finish off the game and just go home that moment. So I don't think we need to necessarily solve for that. But very interesting. Why I don't agree with Pandey is there's just no point in playing him. You all agree that he's not a T20 player. The ODI World Cup is not for another 2 years. I don't see him getting a place in bilateral series in the playing 11. So playing Manish Pandey, yes, if Dravid and Dhawan want to win this series, and they have stated that they do, that's the first priority. Sure, you go with that experience, but I can't see any sense in playing a Manish Pandey in this playing 11 when you're looking at this as a India A kind of squad and you're looking at it for a T20 World Cup. So Ashwin, that's what I feel.
But so once we had a discussion, I think when I was talking about Raina, but that 5 is a very specialized kind of spot, right? It's not, you can't just pick an opener or a 3 and put him at 5. So I guess I don't have the confidence that Samson can play 5.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. That's fair. We haven't seen him do it before. I just wonder if it's important to also think that while we are slotting these guys in positions, I wonder how the team management is looking at it. Is it time in the middle, or are they looking at Samson is going to be the future number 5 for India and ODIs? So I think that's important to also think of. I think I'm approaching this a little bit differently, but there's clearly no right or wrong. Guys, I want you to both think of your SEAT players, two SEAT players to look out for each, right? All of us will go through that at the second half of the episode after we go through the entire squad. We're going to be back to discuss all-rounders and bowlers. For now, we're taking a SEAT strategic timeout.
And I also have a very special game based on the 2 birthdays that came up earlier in the week. So stay tuned for that.
Welcome back from the SEAT strategic timeout to the Edges and Sledges cricket podcast. We just discussed the top 5, I would say. Little bit of variance in all of us, Ashwin and DJ agreeing. But broadly, I think Dhawan, Shaw, Yadav, Kishan, top 4, Samson or Pandey at number 5. All of us would love to see Padikkal out there. Ruturaj maybe just has to wait for more time. Maybe he gets a look in the T20s. Let's come to that number 6 slot. Any doubts that it's going to be Hardik Pandya?
Maybe DJ wants Krunal ahead of Hardik.
It's Hardik Dandiya, man, all the way. Has to be. He's playing Dandiya.
Did you know if he's going to bowl?
Yes, he's going to bowl. Surya Kumar Yadav said that he's been bowling in the nets. He bowled in the last T20 series we played. So a massive addition, man. And you almost wish he was here in England. I remember both of us were sitting at Trent Bridge, right? When he picked up that 5-4 and set up that famous win. Yeah. Incredible. But he's going to play. And I think he's one of my SEAT players to watch for the ODI series. He's got the thrill of speed with the bat and complete control with the ball. So just like the SEAT Secure Drive tire. So he's my player to watch for this week.
Awesome. Ashwin, so I'm assuming Hardik is in. Tell me the other 2 all-rounders, very interesting. Krunal Pandya and Krishnappa Gautam. Will they get a chance throughout this ODI series?
See, I can't figure out what we do at 7. This is what's messing me up a little. Because if you have 8 through 11, which are bowlers, which we'll talk next, and you have Hardik bowling 4 overs, where do you go for number 7? Do you pick?
I think you just ask Jaddu to fly in and out.
Yeah, that's it. Honestly, we're spoiled with that choice, right? Because I'm thinking you can't really play Krunal at 7. He's not a good enough. I don't know.
Krunal is budget Jaddu, man. Come on.
No.
He has to play.
He's poor man's Jaddu.
Poor man.
He's a bits and pieces of bits and pieces.
Yeah, bits and pieces of bits and pieces. But I honestly can't figure it out, right? Gautam is probably not a good enough bat to bat at 7. So he's probably a great 8 because he can bowl and bat once in a while. Krunal, I'm just not as big a fan of. So, but then what? You can't bring in another specialist bat, right? You're not going to play a Nitish Rana or somebody who's a batsman who gives you options. And I like him. I want him to play some point this series. But so honestly, I'm a bit stumped with number 7. They will probably go Krunal to give you that middle order strength the way Mumbai does, which basically means our ODI side is mostly Mumbai Indians. But I don't love it. That's all.
Yeah. DJ, do you agree? I think I kind of agree with Ashwin there. It's going to be Krunal.
And as I said, he is like, I mean, if Akshar was in the squad, then he would have probably made it. I don't know why Akshar isn't in the squad. Is there a reason why?
Because he was man of the series in the India-England test series.
And that's going to be it for him. He's never going to play again. What's the deal? 27 wickets in 3 test matches. You're done?
No, I think he's with the squad. He's with England. Okay. I think he's in England.
He's with England.
Yeah. He's with England or he's in England?
I can't keep track anymore.
Is he coming? Is he coming home?
Gill is coming home, right?
Or he's going to Rome on holiday.
All right. Okay. DJ, Krunal at 7. Let's go to the bowlers. Now, let's go to spinners first. You've already got... Okay, let's go to pacers first. Thanks for that, DJ.
Yeah, sorry.
So you've got Bhuvi, Deepak Chahar, Saini, and Sakaria. These are the 4 pacers. You pick 2 or do you pick 3?
I think you pick 2 because Bhuvi and to my mind, Chahar is the other one. Although if you want a bit of pace, maybe Saini. I don't see Sakaria making it into the opening game. Although he does provide that left arm variety, maybe they'll try him later on in the series just to, again, this is all an audition for the World T20. Right. So, I think Bhuvi, definitely it'd be good to see him back in action. And Deepak Chahar, or maybe Saini. I think Chahar is very similar to Bhuvi, so a backup to Bhuvi. So maybe they will go with Saini in the first instance, test him out.
Yeah, possible. I like the idea of Bhuvi and Chahar because they can both bat as well, right? A little bit. So I like that prospect overall. But Ashwin, your thoughts on the 2 pacers?
Yeah, it's similar, but I actually think Bhuvi and Chahar are going to be fighting for one spot. in the T20 setup, and so in the World Cup setup. So they might both play, and it's interesting because they're a pair of fast bowlers hunting pair in duos and all that stuff. But they will likely know that they're bowling on opposite ends and they're fighting for that same spot because they're similar. So to me, I think they will both get a look, at least in the first game. And it'll be interesting to see which one of them outperforms, because I would love for Bhuvi to come back, but Chahar has shown some serious chops with the new ball.
Awesome. Okay. So I think that's pretty clear. You've got Bhuvi and Chahar with the possibility of Saini. You've got Pandya to bowl his medium pace. Krunal is one spinner. And assume Pandya and Krunal basically share 10 overs. Hardik and Krunal share 10 overs between them.
I was like, what does Pandya and Krunal mean?
The real Pandya and the not so good Pandya.
Yeah, exactly. So you got Bhuvi and Chahar, and then come down to two spinners. So let me tell you guys who I think are my two spinners. It's going to be Chahal and Rahul Chahar. These are the two guys I think. The risk is both are leg spinners. But DJ, thoughts on the two spinners? Remember, for the listeners, there's also Kuldeep and Varun Chakravarti.
So I like your pick of Yuzi, and I think he's come out saying you'll see a different, more confident Yuzi here, and it'd be good to see him get back into the wickets actually. So this is a good chance for him to pick up some international wickets on the cheap. So again, like Bhuvi and Chahar, I think Chahar and Chahal are up for the same spot, right?
This is like tongue twister. Pandya, Bhuvi and Chahar and Chahal.
Yes, I think they both are for the same spot. They might play a couple of games together, but I'd actually like to see Kuldeep play with Chahal, because they've been both at their best when they've played together. Kuldeep is down on confidence. He's had a torrid time over the last few years. And I mean, what better way to ease this man back into international cricket than frankly not full strength Sri Lankan team, right? So I would love to see Kuldeep come back into the squad, and hopefully the tracks will help him. And I mean, I would love maybe it's an emotional pick, but I'd like to see Kuldeep play the entire series and India to give him a full run before discarding him, because Chahar, he's 21. He's got his whole career ahead of him. Chakravarti's had fitness issues in the past. Frankly, I don't see him playing for India long term. He's got that mystery, but what if that mystery doesn't work? But I think Chahal and Kuldeep bowling in tandem would be great for Indian cricket overall. So maybe an emotional pick, but that those are my two spinners.
Ashwin?
Yeah, I think they're going to go with Chahal, no question. So I agree with you. And Varun Chakravarti is the second. And I think the reason for that is they know sort of that let's say Kuldeep comes in and takes 4 wickets in every single match. It still puts us in a really awkward spot for the future of ODIs, etc. Because, okay, now he's done it in Sri Lanka. He's done it in dust bowl conditions, all these things. So I think they're going to be looking a little ahead, which is very, very sad for me to say that I think the team is ready to look past Kuldeep at this point. But my gut says they're going to go Chahal and Chakravarti. Like you, DJ, emotionally, I would absolutely love if they picked Chahal and Kuldeep. It would be outstanding to watch them bowling in tandem again.
Yeah, I mean, I get where DJ is coming from, but I think you're going to have to leave that emotion aside. I think somebody like Rahul Chahar is not going to be easy to ignore, given his form, what he's been doing for Mumbai. But anyway, honestly, if Rahul Chahar plays, then just ask Jayawardene to come out and coach the team. Rahul Dravid can sit back and relax, because it's the Mumbai Indians versus Sri Lanka. That's what it feels like. But anyway, guys, we're going to move on to DJ's game soon. But before that, Ashwin, your 2 picks for the SEAT players to look out for in the India-Sri Lanka ODIs.
Yeah, I have to go with Surya Kumar Yadav as the first one. I'm just excited to watch him in a longer format. It's going to be great. So him at 3 is my first pick. And then this is a little bit more like old school nostalgic, but I'm so excited for Bhuvi. DJ, did you say that one too already? You said Hardik. For
I've
me,
only gone with one.
Hardik. Yeah, I'm just excited to see Bhuvi back, man. I think he's going to be great with the white ball. So those are my 2.
DJ, you already mentioned Hardik. Who's your second?
I'd like to watch Shaw do well. I mean, with the IPL coming up in August, I've got a selfish reason for the Delhi Capitals, who currently sit at the top of the table. Not in August, in September. I'd love to see Shaw do well. I mean, he's again gone through trials and tribulations. He's had up and downs in international cricket. He's gone away. He's worked on it. It looked like he was in good form in the IPL before it was called off. So I'd love to see Prithvi Shaw show that he's properly puncture resistant and bounce back from whatever issues he's had in the past, and scored tons of runs in these Sri Lankan conditions against hopefully easier bowling attack to bat against than Australia or England.
Awesome. And my two CI players to look out for are going to be Yadav and, drum roll, Sanju Samson. Like, I just can't wait. I think these two are going to be the middle order for India. They're going to spend time in the middle. They need runs behind them. I think these are the two guys to look out for. So I'm really keen.
Prediction for Samson: century in the first game, and then
then,
like cumulative 8 runs in the remaining games.
Yeah, 5 in the next game and 3 in the final ODI. but okay, DJ, prediction in the ODI series, what's it going to be?
So how many games? 5 games, right?
3 games.
So it's okay. I was going to predict 4-1, but clearly
you might as well. Your math has a good track record.
So 3 games, I actually think is going to be 2-1. And the reason I say that is, in the past, whenever we've played Sri Lanka, they've brought up one mystery spinner who we can't play for one game, and then we figure out, okay, actually this guy is really easy to bat against. And then I think it was Akela Dhananjaya the last time we played, and we lost one game against Sri Lanka.
I think I don't know. I remember Ashwin and I were at the Champions Trophy game. I don't know if you were there too, DJ.
Yeah.
You skipped that one.
Yeah,
you were
there? I was there at the Oval, right?
We were just sitting in different seats, I think.
Yeah.
And we lost that, right? Like, we beat
to some
Pakistan and South Africa. Yeah.
And also, guys, can you name the Sri Lankan team that's going to be out there?
I can unfortunately only name 2 of the guys who have been banned for a year. That's how sad the situation is. But okay, before Ashwin predicts, I'm going to say 3-0 so that he can't copy me.
No, I was going to say you can't go first as the host. No, I was looking back, to be honest. I was looking back at when the last time they won. And so they lost 2 ODIs against England. They lost 3 T20s against England. And then when they played Bangladesh in May, they lost the ODI series 2-1. So if they only picked up 1 game against Bangladesh, I mean, our second string team better win 3-0. So I'm going with 3-0. Sweet.
But there's some good players like DDS, Dhananjay De Silva, has been looking good.
You
form.
just named the 2 guys that are share a name with you.
One name. This is like
and
just
Chandimal, Dinesh Chandimal.
I thought you were going to say Dhananjay Chandimal.
Dhananjaya.
On that note, we've covered the ODI squad and our playing 11s for the first 3 games. DJ, I know you've got an interesting game for us at the end of the podcast. Why don't you take it away?
Yeah, so this is obviously, we spoke earlier about the 2 big birthdays that took place, right? Like the 2 big Indian captains. But now, so these guys are both known for their press quotes in some way, like Dada with his press quotes and Dhoni in his press quotes. So the game I thought about while their birthdays were on successive days was like, I'm going to give you a quote and you have to tell me who said this. Was it Dada or was it Dhoni? So was it a Dadagiri or was it a Dhoniism? I don't know. So that is the answer. I'm going to go alternate. I'm going to ask you guys. I'm going to start with the biggest Dhoni fan, of course, Ashwin. So I'm going to come to you first. Tell me whether Dhoni said this or whether Dada said this. To be honest, I don't believe in sitting back and taking things which are not right. If it is right, I'm up to it. I listen to you and I try to rectify. But if you're not, I'm not the sort of person to sit back and listen.
So is this a team game? Do Varun and I get to deliberate, or do I have to?
I mean, it's a game. We're making up the rules anyway, and the points.
What do you want to do? You want to deliberate and guess together, or do you want to go one-on-one?
No, we'll go one-on-one.
To be honest,
Varun's being competitive today.
Yeah, to sit back and take it. That's a tough one, man. That's a tough start. Now your next one for him will be like, well, of course, or something.
Focus on the current question.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Dada.
That is correct. Yes. 1 point to Ashwin. Good choice. What is your process there? What was you thinking there?
It just feels like a very Dada, like the tone of the statement. Like, to be honest, I'm not thinking. I can't imagine Dhoni saying it. Dhoni would sit back and take stuff.
Interesting. Feels like Dada. Very nice. Okay, next one.
Dhoni would come in late to fix stuff. He wouldn't wouldn't fix it right away. He wouldn't get up straight away.
He would walk
He'd
in
wait
at 7
till
with
the
6 overs left.
The next
and
one.
wait. Yeah.
Listen to your elders' advice, not because they're always right, but because they have more experience of being wrong.
I think this is Dhoni.
That is Dhoni, correct? That was too
Yeah.
quick, man. Where have you read? Have you
He
been
was
reading?
playing the
seen-
50-50
I've
odds.
seen
He said,
the-
okay, first one was Dada, so second one must be Dhoni. That's obvious.
Yeah. Now DJ's gonna have to muddle it up. But I've also seen the Dhoni movie like 18 times.
Oh, this is what he said, is it? In the
No,
movie?
it's not. But it's just I feel like Dhoni would have said that.
Okay. Next one. I believe in giving more than 100% on the field, and I don't really worry about the result. If there's great commitment on the field, that's a victory for me. Ashwin.
That has to be Dhoni, right?
That is Dhoni. This is incredible.
Yeah, you can. Dada didn't even give 100% on the field.
He only gave 100%.
Dada
taking his shirt
always
off
gave
at Lord's.
100% on the field.
I mean, his 100% was not equal to everyone else's 100%.
Let's go, dude.
Nice. Well done, guys. I'm very impressed. I thought I'd... Okay.
These are great quotes for the
Next one.
Really good choices.
You don't play for the crowd. You play for the country. Varun.
I'm gonna say Dada.
Incorrect.
man.
That was the third Dhoni quote in a row, and you were
Let's
playing
go.
the probability.
Yeah, he played
MS
the odds.
Dhoni.
He's the guy that when multiple choice picked C for everything because at least you guarantee 25%.
B.
B, sorry.
So Ashwin is currently leading, is it?
Yeah, 2-1.
2-1.
Let's have a look. Okay. Next one. For me, it's important to build good partnerships rather than score centuries. Once you have those partnerships, you will also get the centuries. Ashwin.
I mean, it would be a bit much for Dhoni to say that because he doesn't have many centuries. So I'm going to go with Dada.
Incorrect, because
Oh,
it's
no.
MS Dhoni.
It has to be MS Dhoni
Because he doesn't have centuries.
Yeah,
He says on not having personal milestones in mind.
Oh,
that was a bad miss.
you just missed the previous one. You don't have the
So
right
you
to say
guys
that.
are now
I feel
equal.
like
This feels like a penalty
DJ
shootout, by the way. Like I've missed now, so if you score, then we're back to even. Like this is.
I feel like DJ is just reading a link that says 75 quotes of MS Dhoni. Like he hasn't got any.
I've memorized them anyway. Okay, next one. I'm very hard on people on the field, but once we're off it, I forget the whole issue and I don't bring it up. Varun.
This is tough. I'm gonna say Dhoni.
That's incorrect because it's done.
Oh man.
DJ, this is a great. You were too worried that we got them all right initially. This is one.
But I also gave you 3 MS Dhoni ones in a row. That was
Just to mess us up.
that was the killer, just to mess you guys up. So, are you guys now equal? Who's
Wait.
leading? What's the score?
No,
Who's keeping score?
I'm still
2-1.
2-1. Okay, so this is the. So Ashwin, if you get this one right, he can't beat you, right? Because then
That's the last one of 2. There's 2 more. Yeah, okay. 1 each.
Okay, let's do it.
But what
the
happens
last
if
one?
do you have sudden death playoff ready?
Not really, but I can find stuff.
can
As he
improvise.
said, 75 quotes from MS Dhoni.
Well, that's not a hint at all.
Okay. Okay, this is a good one. Both captains that have lost a lot of matches. A loss makes you humble. It tests the other batsmen and bowlers. Also, if you keep winning, you don't know what area you need to work on.
I mean, first off, that's the most generic captain quote. Like it could be Root or Williamson or it could be anybody. I'm gonna go with MS. That sounds like an MS thing to say.
That is correct. What a shout!
Let's go.
Incredible scenes.
3-1.
Absolutely
Because
incredible.
Dada lost more than he won.
You know what you should have said when I hit the winning statement, right? You can say it.
He finishes it off in style.
Varun, why don't you finish it off in style? The last one. We obviously don't get support from outside, so we support each other, and we will continue to do so whatever happens in the rest of the tournament.
This is for second place, huh? Just to remind.
This has to be
It's for
Dada.
double points.
This is Dada, right?
Yeah, Dada. So you guys are tied, right? So do you
Yeah.
want to
Why does he
answer
get
that?
double points? That's not.
Because it was the last question. Because it's a MS Dhoni quiz. You go to the last over, the runs are
But
double.
you gave it to me first. We didn't even have a toss. That's not fair. I think
Because
the
when
record
Dada
would
wins
say
the
that
toss, he says we'll have a bowl.
Okay, sudden death, whoever says it first. Last, come on, quick.
Okay, now I have to find a question. Okay,
now he has to
Varun
come up
is
with it.
extremely...
Your like hand is on the buzzer. You're all set.
Okay. This is a very generic one.
Let the record state that I won. We're just playing this for fun.
Okay.
All right, now we're good.
I'm here to win games, not popularity contests.
Dada.
That's right.
Yes,
Ashwin
put
wins
you
it.
here
Takes
first.
it
You know,
away.
he heard me first.
No, I heard Ashwin first because his internet is better.
Good.
Awesome.
This was great fun, man.
You managed to lose one game twice.
One game twice means?
Means the same game you lost it twice to me.
This is why Ashwin should stay the quiz master.
Yeah.
Basically, he's too good at all of this stuff, and like we're useless. So
Yeah.
it's actually a fair contest when both of us are there. But yeah, that was the game that it was interesting because those two birthdays came successively, right? So that was quite fun, actually.
Awesome. And then DJ, just going to request you to do our bat with Siat question and end off the podcast for this
Oh
week.
yeah, the bat with Siat question. I asked a pretty interesting question last week. I don't know whether you guys will get the answer to this either, because we've only got 3 entries so far, which is it sounds like the question
Very good odds to win the bat then.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. So this is probably the best shot to win. But the question is this, right? Last week we spoke to Nilesh Kulkarni, who was talking about bowling to Jayasuriya. One of the big things about Jayasuriya's bat in the 96 World Cup was that it has a spring in it, and there was a big rumor and all of this rubbish, right? But there was actually an Indian player who hit such a big 6 at the Sydney Cricket Ground. It went, I think, 90 plus meters at the Sydney Cricket Ground into the stands in 2009, that the Australian officials asked for them to take a dope test and sent their bat for checking. Obviously, the dope test came back negative. There was nothing in the bat. But the question is, which Indian cricketer was this who went through this just for hitting a huge 6 that they couldn't believe that this was not above board, which is, I mean, it's insane. Now, if you put your mind to it, you'll work out who the answer is. But yeah, write in with the answer to that question with hashtag bat with Siat, and yeah, you'll be entered into a contest to win an autographed cricket bat. Back to you, Varun.
Awesome. So that is a tough question. I've been thinking about the answer. I don't know. I'll message you guys separately after this. But that's all we have this week, guys. A lot of sports, like we mentioned. Stay tuned. We will be back with you next week. And keep listening to the Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast, brought to you by Siat Tires. Thank you.